In this video, I'll be covering my journey on Amazon KDP so far. I've started publishing 14 months ago and I've managed to go from $0 to $10,000 in royalties just last month. Hopefully you'll find some value in this video and listening to my experiences will contribute to your success on Amazon KDP as well. So let me take you to the beginning of my journey. I started publishing in October 2023. As a complete beginner, I had no prior experience with Amazon KDP. I haven't bought any paid courses. I simply supplemented my knowledge with whatever was available for free on YouTube already. I was sort of figuring it out as I went. So starting in October, I've published 7 books, 3 of which were generic, 4 of which were seasonal because we were approaching Halloween at the time. In November, I haven't published any books. In December, I've published 2 additional books. One was generic, one was a seasonal Halloween book. In that time, I was sort of trying to figure out the process of creating new books, uploading them on Amazon, doing the right keyword research, as well as managing my ads effectively in order to reach profitability. Here, I'm just looking at my old video that I've made in January, summarizing my first 3 months. So as you can see, in October, I've lost $54. In November, I managed to make $75. And in December, I made $376. Not spectacular numbers. However, I've proved to myself that KDP is a viable option and that I can potentially make money with this if I put enough effort into it. So already at that point, I realized that probably creating books which are seasonal, such as the Halloween and the Christmas ones, are not really worth doing. The niches get very saturated, meaning the ad spend for those books is extremely high and it's very hard to sell them without spending a ton of money on ads. And additionally, once the season is over, once the holiday is gone, that book is basically useless, sitting idle, not making any money. And at the end of Jan, I published another book that I've worked through the month on. So in February, I haven't published any further books. I was basically in the process of quitting my job as well as moving out of my apartment. I basically knew I'm going to be moving abroad to give this whole online thing a chance. I've had some money saved up and I figured if I go somewhere with a lower cost of living, that will give me way more time to focus on doing what I wanted to do and see if I can make it work, essentially. So in March, I moved out of the UK, and with a newly acquired pressure of having no income or having very minimal income from KDP at the time, and only a few grand in savings, I knew I had to put in the work and see if I can basically turn this into something that I can sustain myself on. So I got to work on creating more books to expand my library. So this is where things got interesting, because just after I committed to this, my second best performing book got blocked, and my whole Amazon account got suspended. So you can guess how I felt about this. Luckily, after some back and forth with Amazon, I managed to keep my account, and with 1 book down, my account has been reinstated. So I persisted on working on new books, this time treading a lot more carefully to avoid any issues in the future. So in the next couple months, I've published a few new books, but also with the experience of my account getting suspended, I've realized how fragile my Amazon KDP was. So I decided to experiment with branching out my business into other avenues. So I've tried print on demand through my own website as well as Etsy. I've tried selling digital copies of my book. Some of it was successful, some of it was a waste of time and simply a distraction that stopped me from scaling my KDP account much quicker. May was when I finally saw some progress. I went from making just under $1,000 a month to breaking the 2K barrier for the first time ever. This is when KDP decided to strike again and suspend my account once more, banning my best performing book that's been driving 90% of the sales since my whole journey began. In my eyes, the suspension was completely baseless this time. As far as I was aware, my book didn't violate any guidelines. However, I decided to take it on the chin and I just kept moving forward. Only for Amazon to reach out to me 2 weeks later saying they've made a mistake and they shouldn't have banned this book at all to begin with. So that was great news, because as I've already mentioned, this book was driving 90% of my revenue before the ban. However, what Amazon did in the process of banning my book for 2 weeks is completely obliterate my BSR, meaning my book dropped in the ranking. So after it was unbanned, it was bringing no sales whatsoever. I essentially had to relaunch this book and scale it back up to the level it was at before. So for the next 3 months, I've published a couple more books, and I've managed to restore the rank of the book that has been banned unrightfully. However, I got stuck in a bit of a limbo, oscillating between 2K and 2.5K in revenue, struggling to really break through that barrier. This is where I learned the most important lesson about Amazon ads to date. So listen up, because this might change the way you think about ads, as what I was doing was simply following the advice from other creators on YouTube, which clearly didn't seem to understand this either. So the biggest issue was that I was trying to balance my cost per click in order to achieve a profitable ACoS. I was under the impression I had to keep my ACoS as low as possible, and at the very least, keep it below the threshold of profitability. So as soon as my ACoS would go above the threshold of profitability, I would try to lower my cost per click in order to drive that ACoS value down, which would obviously result in me getting less impressions, therefore less sales, therefore less profit. That would put me in a spot where my sales would dip. So I was like, okay, I need to increase the ad spend again. I would then increase the CPC, which would obviously drive the sales back up, but also increase the ACoS for that campaign, which would lead me to believe that, okay, I need to optimize it again because now I'm spending more than I'm making from that book. So I would lower the CPC once more, which would obviously impact my sales negatively in the following month. That fixation on the ACoS value being profitable is basically what stifled my growth and stopped me from scaling my ads. The tricky thing with ads is the money that you spend today, you're only going to see the results of that in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or maybe the following month. This is where you can fall into the trap that I did of trying to balance out your CPC values, increasing them, then your ACoS getting too high, so you lower them again, and then I could see that my sales would basically fluctuate, go up and down in those months. So this seems so obvious to me now, but all I had to do is look at the overall revenue for those books rather than fixating on the ACoS values for those given campaigns for those books. More sales from ads naturally lead to more organic sales because the sales from ads will boost your ranking, therefore increasing the exposure your book gets organically on the Amazon marketplace. So on paper, it might look like the ads are losing you money, but when you look at the overall revenue figures, it actually turns out that you're turning a profit. So this seems so obvious to me now, but at the time, I didn't seem to realize this for about 2 or 3 months, and I basically stifled my sales for no reason. All I had to do is increase my ad spend by increasing the cost per click, increasing the budget. Yes, on paper, it might look like I'm losing money because my ACoS might be unprofitable. However, if you look at the overall revenue figures, that book would have been profitable. Basically, what I'm saying is don't fixate on the ACoS values. Just see the overall spend you have on your ads against the overall profit that book makes in revenue. And then figure out how much of your revenue you want to reinvest in your ads. You might choose to reinvest 20% of the revenue generated by that book into your ads. You can go with 30, you can go with 40. You need to find the sweet spot. So I basically treat it on book by book basis. I look at every marketplace separately, see how much revenue that book is generating, and then decide on a figure that I want to reinvest into the ad spend for that book in order to drive the sales, regardless of whatever the ACoS value is. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll make a video dedicated just to explain what I'm saying here. So moving on, with my newly acquired knowledge, I decided to start scaling my ads. I stopped looking at the ACoS value being higher than what I thought it should be. And what happened next month? My revenue figures started going up month on month between the months of September and the month of October. I've seen a 60% increase. The impact your ads have always come with a bit of a delay because your sales have to catch up with the additional ad spend that you've done, right? So you're going to spend the money, that's going to boost your BSR, which will in turn result in more organic exposure, therefore resulting in more sales in the future. So I think at that point, I finally figured out how I should have been running ads all along. So yeah, if I knew this months ago, I definitely would have achieved much better figures last year, much earlier. So hopefully me sharing this helps at least one person watching this video, or all of you already know this and I'm just going to look like an idiot for not knowing it and taking 2 or 3 months to figure that out myself. In total, I published 7 books between the months of March and August. I know it's not a lot. Compared to a lot of authors, this might seem like nothing. However, after my first 3 months, I've learned to put strong emphasis on quality rather than quantity. I know people with hundreds of books in their library and they're not even making the kind of royalties I'm making with 11 active books right now. So clearly quality is way more important. Invest a lot of time into one book, make it really good rather than just spamming up Amazon KDP with shitty books that people don't want to buy. I think that's a much better approach. I haven't published any new books since August, so the growth you're seeing on this chart since September can be attributed solely to my effective marketing strategies, as well as me scaling my ads correctly towards the end of the year. So that's all great. However, Amazon ads wasn't the only strategy I utilized to boost my sales in Q4. I knew that with Christmas approaching, we're basically in for peak season to make money. This is why I decided to double down on my marketing, and I've launched a strategy where I've marketed my books on social media. I've utilized platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. I've basically uploaded almost daily videos of me time-lapsing my coloring books with some music and effects, and obviously make it engaging and so on. I know there's some of you watching this video that don't want to spend any money on ads. Perhaps you don't have money in your budget to spend on Amazon. I fully recommend you at least implement this strategy. It's completely free. Obviously, you need to put in some time and effort into filming a nice video and editing it somewhat in an engaging manner where people will want to watch it and you will get decent views. So you do need to be a bit of a creative to do this. However, yeah, definitely worth doing. I started posting daily for the first month of me doing this, and then I basically stuck to a minimum of 2-3 videos per week. I tried to upload daily, however, it didn't always work out, and I did that all the way to the end of the year. So as you can see, these are the kind of figures I've managed to achieve on my platforms. I'll put this up on the screen right now so you can see how many followers I've got across all those 3 platforms. I funneled the customers to my website with a link in bio, which had a further link to go to my Amazon store if they want to buy physical copies of my book. And additionally, I also had products which were PDF versions of all of my coloring books that they can buy. This would have been automatically fulfilled by the system that I have, which sends a PDF to them via email with a download link. So if Amazon is not an option for them, they can buy a PDF, download the book, and print it out themselves. So here I'm going to overlay the analytics for my Shopify store, so you can see how many customers I got, how many of them converted, how many sales I got, how much money that translated into. As you can see, TikTok was my main source of traffic. However, I also got some from Instagram and YouTube. Additionally, I've added a custom tracking link so that I know how many people that reach my website actually click my link to go into my Amazon store. So here you can see how many people visiting my website actually ended up going to Amazon. All the customers that went directly to my website would have been from either them searching up my website directly or from the QR code that I've inserted inside of my books. So when they buy my book, at the end of it, I always put a QR code which links them back to my website. If they scan it, it will basically take them there. So besides my website being a funnel that sends my customers to my Amazon author page, and selling the PDF copies of my books, I've also put some POD products on there that they can buy, and some drop shipping items. This year I'm probably going to be trying to expand the range of products so I can get some more sales coming in from that as well. But yeah, the sales achieved from Shopify are nowhere near the sort of figures I see on Amazon anyway, so I'm not putting too much emphasis on this. If you want to do this for yourself, you don't have to have your own website. You can literally just put your link to your Amazon page straight away. Either put a link directly to the book that you're trying to advertise, or your Amazon author page where they will see a whole library of your books under the same pen name. So you can do that. You don't have to do it through the website. I just thought I'm going to see if I can sell additional products off the back of my coloring books. And yeah, it seems to be working to some extent, as you can see. Additionally, I also ran an Etsy page which sold PDF copies of my books as well. You can see the analytics for that store here on screen now. If you're considering doing this, I would say it's not worth doing Etsy at all. On Etsy, it's very hard to get organic sales. I did run ads for a month or two. However, it wasn't really great. They weren't running really profitably. They weren't boosting my sales enough for me to justify running them. I was basically losing money. And the thing with Etsy is the fees are insanely high. For every time you sell a product, they charge you a fee on top of a fee on top of a fee to re-upload your listing, refresh it, whatever. It's too much. It's totally not worth setting up the store, running the risk of someone stealing your intellectual property for $1 or $2 in profit. If you have any other products that can relate to your coloring books and with POD or dropshipping items that are somewhat related to the theme of your coloring book, then yeah, run your own website, but I would totally skip running an Etsy page, to be honest. I wouldn't do it again, and I'm not putting any more effort into developing my store. Whatever's been done is done, but I'm not going to put any more effort into it anymore. So yeah, I'd say either funnel through your website or literally just put your Amazon link directly into your social media pages, whether that's Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok. On TikTok, I think you need 1,000 followers to be able to put in a link. But to be honest, at the beginning, I couldn't put a link into my bio and people were still finding my book themselves. If they're motivated to buy your coloring book, they will literally search it up themselves on Amazon. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. So here's an overall look at my revenue over my ad spend over time. So this is the lifetime revenue over lifetime ad spend. So as you can see, December was a fantastic month. Obviously, as expected, the sales were over double of what a normal month would be. With the Christmas period, I'm well aware my royalty is going to drop significantly in January. However, from what I can see already, after a few days of sales, they're probably going to drop by about 50%. So hopefully I can make 10K my new baseline figure for a regular month this year. And then we'll see what sort of figures we can get towards the end of the year this time round. So I think that will be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the transparency I offered in this video, sharing with you guys all my figures, my journey, and my strategy. So hopefully there's something you can take away from this video that you can implement into your KDP business. So for those of you who managed to get to the end of this video and are still watching, thank you very much. I have a question to you guys actually. I'm considering starting some sort of a community or group surrounding KDP publishing and online business as a whole. A place where we can connect, work together, offer help and advice, share strategies and so on. I think it will be very beneficial to all of us involved, so we can basically help each other and grow our businesses together. Let me know if this is something you'll be interested in, if I was to create some sort of group or community. Just trying to gauge interest here. If there's enough interest, I'll go ahead and create something. I also thought of creating like a more in-depth course, teaching KDP from start to finish, showing all the steps involved and so on. I already have videos on my channel showing some of like ad strategies, how to create and publish your first book, how to do some keyword research and so on. But I was thinking of creating a product that would be like a in-depth course covering all things KDP. However, yeah, I don't know if there's enough interest for me to do that. Obviously, it does take a lot of time to create something like this. However, if there is enough interest, I will consider doing it. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Also, in the description, you can find a link to my newsletter. So if you want to stay up to date with me, news relating KDP and updates that I might not post on YouTube, but you want to stay up to date, make sure you sign up to my newsletter. It's completely free. Anyways, that will be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it useful. If you did, drop me a like. It really helps me to grow this channel and reach a wider audience. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.